Hello. Happy Mental Health Awareness Week. My name is Sarit Gaffin, and I am very grateful to be here. Hello. And I'm just going to switch over to Zoom. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's much better. So I'm really grateful to be here, to have also finally learned how to live stream on YouTube. So it is Mental Health Awareness Week this week. And I firmly believe that taking care of your mental health is not just for 1 week or 1 day, it's for every day. And I'm here to share my 3 keys to mental well-being. So first, let's all get really comfortable. And if you need to have a stretch or anything, please do. And let me just share some compassionate housekeeping. So while we are together, I would like to offer you the notion that this time is for you. It's just for you. So if you need to stand up or move or take a drink, whatever it is, please feel free to do that. And I will make sure that we're moving every so often so that we're not sat down for the full time. Okay, great. So first, let me share a little bit about myself so you know where I'm coming from. So as I've said, my name is Sarit Gaffin, and I run a company called Highest Good Wellbeing. And the reason I've called it Highest Good Wellbeing is because I believe that the highest good is for everyone to be happy and healthy in their own ways. And there were times in my life, particularly from the age of 15, where I was not happy and I was certainly not mentally healthy. I suffered from depression, spiraled into it from the age of 15. And I've really come to understand why that was. And I'd like to share that with you because it might help some of you, especially those of you going through depression. The reason I was depressed at the age of 15 was because I was extremely sensitive and I didn't really know how to handle that. I was only 15. And also at the time, so obviously this is going back quite a while because I'm now 47. At the time, it wasn't, being sensitive was not particularly valued. And actually, I think it was feared because people didn't understand what being sensitive was and what the benefits of it are. Probably some of you here are empathic and you know how it feels to feel other people's feelings and to be sensitive to what's going on around you and inside you and in the world. So at the age of 15, I found that extremely overwhelming and I had no strategies to deal with it. And the people around me really did their best to support me, but they found it really hard because I was crying all the time. And because of that, I was judging myself as being a bad person. Oh my gosh, if I'm crying, and if I'm so sensitive, I must be a bad person. And so that led to the spiraling of my depression. And on top of all of that, because I was depressed for over 15 years, as time went on, social media came into play and the bombardment of messages from the world just kept overwhelming me. And I felt like I was not right for this world. I felt like I didn't belong here, felt like I didn't fit. And the world was giving me that message that I didn't fit and that I didn't belong. And so I really hoped and prayed that one day someone would just find I had some kind of diagnosis, there was something wrong with me, and then it wouldn't be my fault. And I feel quite sad about that now, and I really feel for anybody else who feels like they don't fit and who feels that the world is telling them they're wrong or they're not right, there's something wrong with them. you know, we're all amazing in our own way. And I know that I'm amazing in my own way. And I'm now learning to love myself and accept myself. And it's taken me a long time to do all of that and to believe in myself. It's still a journey. It's still a journey. I've only consciously started loving myself since last August. But I really want that for everybody who's watching and for anybody else who needs it. I really want that for you. I want you to learn to be your own chief nourishment officer. That's my role in my company, and I would really love to help you to do that. And I believe that I can help you with my 3 keys to mental well-being. So my 3 keys are self-awareness, self-kindness, and self-nourishment. So before we launch into those, let's have a little stretch. Let's have a little stretch. Ah, there we go. I think I'm going to stand up, actually. If anyone needs to stand up. Oh, you can see my T-shirt now. Look, highest good well-being. And there's my QR code for LinkedIn if anyone wants to connect. So I'm just going to have a stretch. I've been sat down already for quite a bit. And I invite you to do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable. Okay, so self-awareness. Why do we need self-awareness? As I mentioned before, over the past, well, however long it's been, decades, we have been even more bombarded with information from adverts, from the news, from social media, everywhere, telling us messages that we are not necessarily choosing to receive, but we're receiving them anyway. Okay? And those messages may be telling us that we need something outside of ourselves in order to be wonderful or healthy or successful. And if we are not attuned to those messages and whether we want them or not, it's very easy for those messages to get into our energy and to depress our energy and make us feel bad about ourselves and to judge ourselves, because there's a lot of judgment out there. Let's be honest. There's a lot of judgment out there, and there's a lot of judgment in here. That's natural. There's a reason that's natural as well. I wonder how many of you know about the negativity bias. So the negativity bias is our primeval wiring of our brains. It's how our cave ancestors were able to survive, because our wiring is such that the brain is constantly on the lookout for threats. And threats in those days were wild animals, you know, might jump out from a bush and eat you and kill you. We don't have that nowadays. Obviously, unfortunately, we do have we have threats such as war and crime and all sorts of things. And yes, the mind does need to look out for those to protect us. But the mind treats those life and death threats the same as it treats threats such as not being able to pay your bills or having an argument with a friend or a partner. All of those, the brain classifies as a threat, and it will activate your stress response. Okay, it will activate your sympathetic nervous system, and your hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, stress hormones, will activate, and they will take hold of you if you don't deactivate them, if you don't tell the brain, we're safe, this is not a real threat to my life, this is just something I need to take care of. Okay, so you've probably noticed when you're feeling stressed, your breathing might be shallow, maybe you can't catch your breath, your muscles are tensed, your pupils might be dilated, you know, maybe sweaty or clammy. All of those things are, it's a flag for you to show you that you're feeling stressed. Okay, so that's why self-awareness is important, because if we are not tuning into how we are and asking ourselves, how am I? If we're not doing that, how can we possibly take care of our mental health? So on that note, I want to share with you my favorite self-awareness technique, which is called the self-care check-in. Now, the self-care check-in I came up with in March 2020 when I came down with some kind of virus. I don't know what it was because there was no testing at the time, but it was a very interesting time, very challenging time, because as a well-being practitioner, when suddenly the world became ill and stressed, I really wanted to help, but I had come down with an illness and I wasn't able to help. And so what happened was I was judging myself for not being able to help when the world needed me, you know? So I asked the universe and I prayed and I meditated and I got this technique. Okay, so this technique is called the self-care check-in. And what we're going to do is we are going to ask ourselves how we are physically and then emotionally. Because how often do we do that? I bet you're always asking how everyone else is. Isn't it? It's the first thing we say when we bump into someone or we meet up with a friend or relative. How are you? Yeah? But when do we ask ourselves? So I'm going to invite you now to ask yourself how you are, but let's do it in a gentle way. And I'm just going to also make sure that my phone is on silent, because that's part of self-kindness, is giving yourself space to take care of yourself. Okay, so inviting you now to get comfortable. Now, I like to put a hand on my heart just to bring myself into the present moment. So inviting you to take a couple of breaths just to relax and see if you can drop and let go of anything that you're carrying right now mentally, not physically, obviously. And if you find that your mind's busy, that's perfectly okay. Just invite you to notice your thoughts and try to let go of any judgment. Just notice them. And let's breathe in a couple of times. And relax. Breathe in your own time. And relax. So we ask ourselves this question: how am I feeling physically in this moment? And I invite you to do a body scan from the top of your hair, going all the way down to the tips of your toenails. Totally go at your own pace. And what you're looking for, what you're trying to become aware of, is any discomfort, tension, pain, or unpleasant feeling. You can also be aware of anything that feels good too. And the idea is, if you want to aim for a score out of 10 to see how good you're feeling physically, then what you could do is, any time when you're scanning your body, to take off a point for anything that doesn't feel good or right. And if, for example, you have a headache or a migraine or a pain that's really quite intense, you can take off 2 points, or whatever feels right for you, that's the right way to do it. So let's do that together now. Go at your own pace. And only do this if it feels right for you. Okay, so hopefully you have either come to a score out of 10, or maybe you want to use a percentage or a color that represents how you feel physically. Any way that feels right for you to help you understand how you're feeling in this moment physically is the right way. You don't have to use a scale of 0 to 10. So for me, I have come out feeling 7 out of 10, just because I have little bits of tension in my back, neck, and shoulders. And it's partly because of how I'm sitting. So the self-kindness aspect of this is to move and become more comfortable. I'm going to have a little stretch. See, all this is self-kindness. I'm going to go on to that afterwards. Ah, yeah. Okay, so I wonder how it was for you. And the invitation is, once you've completed the scan and noticed, maybe you're even hungry. So maybe you just need to go and get something to eat, or maybe you're thirsty. I'm thirsty. I'm going to take some water. And I'll explain what the labels are on my water later. So once you have noticed anything that doesn't feel right, it's time to take care of it as best you can. So for me, it was actually quite simple, because I just needed to adjust my position in the chair, because it's about being mindful. When we sit down, we just kind of sit down and go, right, I'm gonna work, but we don't think, am I sitting comfortably? Your body loves it when you take care of it. Your body loves it when you take the time to sit properly and in a healthful way. Your body's healing itself 24/7. So did you know that? The body's healing itself 24/7? Yeah. And so if you can get on your body's team, it will love you back for sure. Okay. Yeah. So just if you notice anything, pain or tension or whatever, maybe you need to massage yourself a little bit. Whatever it is that's going to help you move up the scale 1 point at a time to make you feel better, go for it. Okay. And now I'm going to invite us to do an emotional check-in. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to relax, take a couple of breaths and just let go of that score. That was our physical score, making sure that we're sitting comfortably. And now I invite you to ask yourself, how do I feel emotionally? How am I feeling emotionally in this moment, just in this moment? And you can do the scale of 0 to 10 again if you wish. And it doesn't matter which way you do it, 10 out of 10 is amazing, or 0 out of 10 is amazing. Whichever way feels right for you is the right way. Or maybe it's percentages or a color. Maybe there's a shape or a fruit or an animal that represents how you're feeling emotionally. Maybe there's even weather or some kind of aspect of nature. Whatever it is, I invite you now to just ask yourself. And I'll leave you some time in silence now to check in. And it might be that you notice feelings or emotions coming up. Maybe you feel anxious, maybe you're feeling calm, or maybe you notice that there are situations on your mind. So it might be that when you want to give yourself a score or an overview of how you're feeling emotionally, for each situation that's on your mind, you could take off a point. But for me, I'm feeling 8 out of 10. I'm feeling quite calm and relaxed, but a little bit nervous and anxious because this is my first YouTube live. So that's why I'm 8 out of 10. But to be fair, when is anyone really 10 out of 10? We don't have to be 10 out of 10 all the time. And this is actually, it's a really good point, because society often gives us the impression and the message that we should be seen to be happy all the time, and that we mustn't look as if we're sad or struggling, and it's not okay to not be okay. But I'm here to tell you differently. Yeah, life isn't like that. Life isn't like this or like this. Life is like this, isn't it? Yeah. And if you can just learn to flow with it and take really excellent care of yourself through your ups and your downs, you will be much happier, my friend. That's what I found. That's what I found. That I learned to love myself through my ups and my downs. See, even through COVID, when the whole world was suffering and I couldn't do anything about it, I learned to take care of myself. I learned this self-care check-in. So, with the emotional side of the self-care check-in, if you find that you are really low, let's say I was doing a score out of 10, with 10 being I was feeling amazing. If I was 2 or 3 out of 10, the first thing I would do is offer myself kindness. And I would observe myself and go, oh, goodness me. Feeling 2 or 3 out of 10 sounds really difficult. How can I move myself up the scale by 1 point? How can I get myself to a 3 or a 4? How can I get myself there? What is the kindest thing that I can do for myself right now? And that is also a technique that is used in mindful self-compassion. Really good modality, and I highly recommend it. So if I was feeling 3 out of 10, I asked myself, what do I need to do to move myself up from 3 to 4 out of 10? So I might say something like, do you know what? I need to go outside and just be in nature. And I would make that happen. I would allow myself to go, take myself into nature, because nature doesn't judge. Nature asks nothing of us. Nature isn't advertising to us. It's not saying, buy my trees or buy my flowers, or you need to do this in order to be healthy or good or beautiful. It's not. Nature is just there being itself, and it welcomes you with open arms as you are. And I have been in nature when I have been feeling 2 out of 10, and I've come out feeling much better, maybe 5 or 6 out of 10. So the important thing, if you find that you are feeling really low and if you're struggling, is not to demand anything of yourself, just to apply a thick layer of self-kindness, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then you move yourself up 1 point at a time by doing kind things for yourself and speaking kindly to yourself. Speaking kindly to yourself, yeah, that is something that we all need to learn how to do a bit better. So what you can do, if you're not sure how to speak kindly to yourself, imagine you have a wise and kind friend who is there with you right now. What would they say to you if they saw you really struggling? What would they say to you? I bet you anything they wouldn't say, pull yourself together, or come on, this is ridiculous. They wouldn't say that, would they? If they were a wise and kind friend, they would say, oh gosh, it looks like you're struggling. What is it we need to do in order to help you right now? Or how would you like to help yourself? And one of the questions I like to ask myself, this is when I'm further up the scale, because if I'm too low down, it doesn't work, is an empowering question like, what am I thinking? What thoughts are causing this right now? And do I want to continue to think those thoughts? Because once I'm aware, and here's the self-awareness again, once I'm aware that what I'm thinking is making me feel in a way I don't want to feel, it switches something on inside me, and I'm able to then redirect and change my thinking to more kind thoughts and positive thoughts. Okay, so I think it's time for a little break. Let's have a little stretch. Oh, I'm going to stand up. Feel free to stand up if you want to. Oh, look, my chair's having a little boogie as well. Ah, lovely, lovely. Let's have a bit of water. Now, remember I said to you I was going to show you the labels on my water bottle. So we've done self-awareness, only briefly. I might come back to it later. And self-kindness, number 2. We'll talk about the 2 types of kindness and what it really means to me. I have written on my water bottles, I notice with kindness and I respond with kindness. Now, the reason for that is, how often do we drink from our water bottles? Quite often, right? So what if you were to pour into yourself positive messages while you're pouring in the water? Wouldn't that be a great way to cultivate self-kindness? Yes. So I invite you, if you have a water bottle, you don't have to write the same as me. Maybe think of a lovely positive affirmation or a kind mantra or an empowering mantra for yourself, and stick it on a label on your water bottle. And every time you drink, remind yourself and think that mantra. I hope that helps you. So, kindness, firstly. What is kindness? Everyone talks about it, and we all are it to other people. But are we kind to ourselves? I wonder if you are. I am learning to be much kinder to myself. So, kindness in my eyes is the acknowledgement of everybody doing their best, and that sometimes we struggle, and that sometimes things are difficult, and that we're not always aware of our behaviors or how they impact people. So there are 2 types of kindness. There's yin kindness and yang kindness. Oh, hello, plant. Let's bring the plant in a little bit. Ooh. So yin kindness is gentle and nurturing kindness. So it's the kind of kindness that I might have applied to myself if I was feeling 2 or 3 out of 10. So it might be, I might say to myself, gosh, it looks like you're really struggling. How is it that we can help you? What is it you need right now? What's the kindest thing you can do for yourself? What do you need to do to best take care of yourself right now? So that's gentle, nurturing kindness. And then there's yang kindness, which is fierce kindness. I love that kind of kindness because it is so empowering. And I feel like it's like having a compassionate drill sergeant who, instead of shouting at you and telling you you're worthless, they're shouting for you, and they're making sure that you don't harm yourself, or you don't speak to yourself in a destructive way. So it might be something like, I will not let you do this to yourself. I will not let you put yourself down. I will not let you cause yourself this pain anymore. I will not let you think these thoughts that are making you feel so bad. I love you. You are amazing and you deserve to feel good. And I will not let you continue in this way because you are wonderful and I love you. And you've got this. That's what to me yang kindness is like. It's about warmly and kindly pushing yourself to do the things that make you feel good and that you know are good for you. Yeah, so that was good. Now, I'm going to have another stretch. Ooh. So, I invite you now to have a little think about the two types of kindness and write on a post-it some kind words from the yin side and some kind words from the yang side. Let's do it together. So let's do this for a minute or so, a couple of minutes, and then we can share. Okay, how did we do? Okay, so yin kindness, I've got, it's okay if you need to take a break. And for yang kindness, I've got, I will not let you put yourself down. So it would be great if you post in the comments anything that you came up with. Let's have another drink of water. Very hot today. I will also share in the comments a poem I wrote called The Yang Within Her, which is a poem about yang kindness and being fiercely kind to yourself. Okay, so self-nourishment is my third key to mental well-being. Self-nourishment is simply about having found out what it is that you need to feel good through our self-awareness and our self-kindness. It's putting things in place, putting techniques and strategies in place to maintain your well-being. Because there's no point just, getting to burnout every time and then bringing yourself back up. It's really important to take care of yourself every day so that you don't have to struggle. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm going to share with you some of my self-nourishment techniques. So gratitude. Oh, why is it all gone a bit blurry? Ah, it's gone a little bit blurry. I'm not quite sure why. Never mind. let's pause for a second. Oh, that's better. Great. Okay. So one of my favorite self-nourishment practices is gratitude. Now, gratitude you have to be careful with because it can come with a side order of guilt. And guilt, along with judgment and blame, are energies that are no good for your well-being. Okay? So promise me you're going to have a listen and do the gratitude practice in a way that is nourishing to you with no guilt. Okay? It's not about forcing yourself and pushing yourself to feel grateful for something if you're feeling rubbish, if you're feeling at the low end of the scale. Okay? Which is why also, remember I was saying before on the scale, if I'm feeling 2 or 3 out of 10, you notice I didn't say, I'll go straight into gratitude practice. No, because that would be forcing myself to do it. If I'm feeling that low, kindness is the first thing I need in order to move myself up the scale. If I do a self-care check-in and I find that I'm about 5 or 6, something like that, that's probably a really good time to be using gratitude, because gratitude is a really good bridging activity and a really good bridging energy to move me up the scale. So, gratitude. How did I get into gratitude? Well, I've written a book on it, so I won't go into it here. But gratitude is about noticing and being aware of what's going right all the time. All these little miracles, some of them are infinitesimal miracles, but if they weren't working, things would be going wrong, but we just don't know. For example, the millions and millions of cells it takes for one eye, I think it's 3 million parts of our eye or cells in our eye, need to be working correctly in order for us to see, which is incredible. So when we wake up in the morning and open our eyes, and I apologize if you're visually impaired, I can imagine what that must be like. But if you wake up and you have good vision, that's amazing. Right now, I'm so grateful I'm being able to look you guys in the eye. I know obviously I can't see you properly, but I'm giving you my eye contact and hope that you can feel the love coming through from the eye contact. And I look around and I see colors and shapes and patterns and nature, and it's just really amazing. So gratitude for me is tuning in a little bit more to all the things around me and within me that are going right. Because remember, we've got this negativity bias, and that is telling us what's wrong. That's tuning in to the threats and the things that potentially could go wrong and what's bad in our lives. Okay. I decided we need a positivity bias. And that's why I have things like my self-kindness labels on my bottle. And that's why I have things like this post-it note. I've stuck post-it notes around my flat, reminding me of the gifts that these things bring. So this one's about my laptop. So I've written on here, my laptop is so fast and capable and enables me to easily work on my business, put great stuff out into the world, hopefully like this video, connect with groups and like-hearted people, create do my fit on exercise activities and learn and grow and communicate. And that's just there. And that reminds me all the time not to take my laptop and my monitor and my camera for granted. And I've also stuck post-its in other rooms to remind me as well. So it's really good to have these visual aids around, because they're reminders there for when you're not feeling so good and when you're forgetting to practice, which we all do, even I do sometimes. We forget to practice because life gets in the way. But what I really want for you guys to be your own chief nourishment officers is to put practices in place, practices of self-nourishment that don't go away, that are always there for you and maintain your well-being on a daily basis. So let me give you some more examples of my gratitude practices. So when I sit down to eat, I take a moment to thank the food, which I believe is a Native American tradition. And I think about, where has this food come from? And I thank all the energies that have come together to enable this food to be in front of me right now, where I can freely eat it and enjoy it. And also I think about the choice that I have. I can choose to eat anything I want. I'm extremely privileged. And so I do the gratitude practice in different ways according to how much time I have or how I'm feeling. And there is no there's no right or wrong way to do it. Okay, you do it completely as you are, however you feel like you want to do it. So one day I might do like a reverse honor roll, and I might think, okay, how did the food get onto my plate? Well, I put it there with my hands, and I cooked it, or my fiance cooked it, and my hands were working brilliantly, and all my body was working, so I was able to cook and to put it on the plate. And then how did it get there? So it was in the fridge, and I have a working fridge, which is amazing, and that keeps my food fresh, so I don't have to live off canned food. And how did it get into the fridge? Well, I went shopping, and it how was I able to do shopping? Because I have money, and I'm extremely grateful to have money. So you could keep going back as well. How did it get into the supermarket? Well, let's say if it was some vegetables, a farmer grew it with the help of Mother Earth and all of that energy that went into it, and somebody picked it from a field. So all of this, I don't know if you can tell, but my energy just really lights up when I talk about this, because the awe and wonder of all of these miracles that are happening every day inside us and around us, just helps raise my vibration, lift my mood. So I hope that that can help you too. Now, let me share a fun way to bring gratitude into your life. Okay, well, a couple of ways. So we have gratitude I spy. So what you can do, you can play this with a friend if you like. And what you can do is look around the room and say, I spy with my grateful heart something beginning with P. And I know what mine is. Mine is plant. Because the plant brings me fantastic energy when I'm working. As you can see, I'm working now. And it brings me the connection with nature that I need in order to live happily in this world. Okay, why don't you have a think now and pop it in the comments. So that's one game. And then another game that you can play. In fact, this is a really nice way to bond with your family around gratitude, is to get a piece of paper and write the alphabet down on a sheet of paper. And at the top, you can put, we are grateful for, and then you just start filling in, we are grateful for things that start with A, B, C, D, E, F. And what you can do is you can have it up during the week, maybe stick it on the fridge and maybe just do one each together and then leave it up on the fridge. And then during the rest of the week, people can fill it in. It's quite a nice way to bring people together around gratitude. Okay, so we have covered self-awareness. I just want to make another point about self-awareness, okay? Self-awareness enables you to be your true self in this world, which is so important. We need you as your true self. The world needs you as your true self. It really does. I didn't know the world needs me as my true self. The world doesn't need me to try and fit in. The world needs me to be my lovely, sensitive, intelligent self, empathetic self. And I have learned to do that through meditation, through connecting with my highest intelligence. And my highest intelligence, I believe, is the true me. It's the me that is not influenced by external sources. Okay, it's the me that is just my inner voice, not my programming or my conditioning, not anybody else's voice, just mine. So why don't we do, to finish off, a short meditation where we connect with our highest intelligence and see if you can hear your inner voice and see if it's telling you how you can help your mental well-being. Okay, so let's take a couple of breaths. And remember, only do what feels right for you. So let's say hello to our highest intelligence. Dear my highest intelligence, hello. I love you and I'm very, very grateful for you. Do you have any messages for me about my mental well-being? And now we're just going to be still and silent in your own way, whatever that means for you. If you need to walk and pace, if you need to dance, if you need to lie down, whatever feels right for you. So I'm going to leave you now for a few minutes just to connect with your highest intelligence. I'm just going to sing a little bit to help you get into the space. La, 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la thank you, thank you, thank you, my highest intelligence. I am so grateful to you. And just bringing yourself back, bringing your awareness back into the room, into your body, feeling your feet connected with the floor or wherever they are, wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers. Before you open your eyes, just having a gentle stretch. Gentle stretch. And whenever you feel ready, open your eyes and just look around the room and make sure you can label 3 things and name 3 things just to make sure you're fully back. Okay, well, I hope you found that nourishing. Before I go, I'd like to share with you maybe 1 or 2 more self-nourishment practices that have worked for me. But just a reminder that it's important for you to find what nourishes you. And that's why we tune in. That's why we tune into our highest intelligence. It will tell us. There's no good me telling you, oh, go and have a bath or do some yoga. Your highest intelligence knows what is best for you. So try and tune into it as often as you can. So I love, you obviously noticed that I did some singing. One of my self-nourishment techniques is positive singing. I like to sing mantras or affirmations that make me feel good. And there are some that are spiritual. But let's think of one now that could be really nourishing for Mental Health Awareness Week. How about something like, I am unique. Okay, so I might just sing that, and I want to see if you can feel this in your body as well, because it's really important. Self-awareness as well, really important for your physical awareness. Okay, so see if you feel anything in your body when you're either hearing this or singing it yourself, or maybe choose your own mantra and do your own one. So here we go. I am unique. I am unique. I am unique. I am unique. I could feel it. I could feel it in my heart. I don't know if you could. And the other self-nourishment technique I really wanted to share with you is positive language. It's so important to be aware of the words that you're saying, because words carry vibration, words carry energy. And if you're constantly berating yourself, because believe me, we're all thinking those thoughts sometimes anyway, but if you're saying that to yourself, also if you're noticing bad things and difficult things and talking about them a lot, guess what's going to happen? That energy is going to be within you and it's going to stay there. So why don't we think of positive language to nourish ourselves with? And that doesn't mean if something's wrong you don't speak up about it. It doesn't mean you have to be grateful for everything, and if something's not meeting your needs that you should just do it. It means just try to, as much as possible, use language that feels good for you. And we always, of course, want to be polite and respectful, not just to ourselves but to others. Okay, well, I hope that you have enjoyed this. What I'd like to offer us is to just do another self-care check-in to see, has anything moved since the beginning of the workshop? Okay, so let's just do it now. So we start with our physical self-care check-in. Inviting you once again, take a couple of breaths. At your own level, at your own pace. And then do your body scan, asking yourself, how do I feel physically? And we scan from the top of our hair all the way down to the tips of our toenails. I'm about a 9 now. I've noticed that tension has gone, and I mean I have an ongoing shoulder thing, so that's there, so that's why I'm not a 10. Let's have a go at the emotional one. Please do share in the comments if you want to. Obviously it's quite personal, so I don't expect you to, but if you want to, just let us know how you're feeling. Okay, emotional self-care check-in. How am I feeling emotionally in this moment? Reminding you, if you'd like to do a scale of 0 to 10, percentage, or just notice feelings that are coming up, or a colour, or an animal, or a plant, or weather. Whatever feels right, can be anything. I'm feeling peaceful and calm and grateful. Okay, so as I said, please feel free to share in the comments how these practices have been for you and how this workshop has been for you. And if I can support you in any way on your journey, please know that you can work with me one-to-one. I'll leave my details in the comments, and please feed back to me about this workshop. I'd really love to know how it was for you. Okay, take really, really excellent care of yourselves, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.